Hey everybody, it's Alissa from Colin's Hope coming at you as we head into a holiday weekend. 4th of July weekend, I think in most places it's kind of already began, and people are getting ready to get outside perhaps and potentially find some water because I know it's getting hot out there. So today we're going to talk to you a little about what we have, some water safety tips that we want you and your family to keep in mind as you head into that holiday weekend and kind of what the scene is out there and what's going on. So we're going to have one or two special guests with us. And I'm going to introduce Jessica Burke in a second, or let her introduce herself. But first, I want to talk about what's actually happening, at least in Texas, in terms of where we are with our child fatal drowning numbers. We are currently, that we know of, we've lost at least 41 Texas children to fatal drownings and in all kinds of water. So folks, we're talking about everything from backyard pools and bathtubs, so water around the home and buckets and septic tanks, to water that's around, maybe a little bit further around the home, maybe ponds, which are typically unbarriered. And then we have pools are still our greatest number right now, but lakes, rivers, beaches, we're seeing drownings happening in all kinds of water, and all ages, but primarily, our highest risk number are those under fives, and that is, the data is showing us that. So we're going to talk about this weekend and what's coming up as people enter the holiday weekend, but really we wanted to bring it top of mind that, as we always say, drowning is fast, drowning is silent, drowning is preventable. And this is something, certainly as the temperatures just keep getting hotter, that we need to think of water safety, keep it front of mind. And so with that, I want to introduce Jessica Burke. I'll let you introduce yourself and how you come to us. We consider you've been a partner of ours for a couple of years now and changed roles. So why don't you tell everyone where you are now, and then we'll just have a conversation.
That sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. And first, I'd like to say thank you for all the work that Colin's Hope does for our community. And beyond that, the message you guys are spreading is, I see Peter.
Hey, okay, we have a late arrival, but thank you for being here. It's Chief of the Galveston Beach Patrol, Peter Davis. We're just getting started, so did an intro just talking about the holiday weekend that's pretty much already started, and then Jessica's introducing herself, and then I'll give you the same opportunity, then we'll just jump into talking about what we want people to know as they're thinking about what they're doing this weekend, whether it's going to the beach or to the pool, and he disappeared. We'll figure this out. All right, Jessica, you keep going, and we'll just get Peter in when he comes back.
Well, again, my name is Jessica Burke, and I am the education coordinator for the Texas Recreation and Park Society. So we are a membership organization that supports our parks and recreation districts and departments, state parks. So we've got members from all across the state, and all of them are experiencing a very different 4th of July and this weekend, whatever that looks like. And, that has changed quickly as,
right.
Yeah. And so this is a first time 4th of July, I would say, for pretty much the entire state.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, so thank you for being here, and thank you for your partnership. Certainly the people that you work with on a daily basis are people that we work with. And so the more of us working together around drowning prevention, the better. Peter, do you want to introduce yourself and tell folks where you're coming from? I can't tell where you are, if you're in the car or the truck or the rescue truck or where, but no, he went away. Okay. All right. We may be having some technical difficulties. Are you back, Peter? Can you hear us? Okay, well, all right, well, let's just, Peter, if you can hear us, just jump in, and let's tell folks what they can expect, or let's give them some water safety tips for the weekend. So I really wanted to focus on beach safety, because that's typically, where we see a heavy usage over the holiday weekends, and parks and lakes and open water for sure. But as you mentioned, Jessica, it's kind of a weird time, and parks are closing for the weekend in some areas in the state of Texas. Peter, I don't know if you can hear us, but do you want to talk a little bit about what's happening at the beaches down there? Okay. I'm not sure, but okay, we'll struggle through this a little bit here. Based on where you are, and I don't know, we have people listening from all over or watching from all over. So the basic gist, I think, of this is if you're thinking about getting out and finding water this weekend, probably the first thing is do your research, because there are a lot of places that are not going to be open or accessible, whether they're open water, so whether they're beaches or lakes or even rivers, and pools. So that's the first thing, do your research. And then we want to talk about some tips that we can give people. I want to talk about backyard pools also, and quite frankly, any kind of water. I know before we started, Jessica, you were mentioning creeks and things like that. So what thoughts do you have around tips that you can give people, or what you think is going to happen with pools and the facilities that you're working with?
Sure. Well, traditionally the 4th of July is a hot weekend. We are all looking for a cool place to just beat the heat for a little bit. And so we all know people love going to pools, lakes, rivers over this holiday weekend. And on top of that, what we have seen with the COVID is we have seen even more attendance in parks. So we've got record numbers of people going to public parks, green spaces, and water spaces, which is, we're thrilled people are getting outside, but it does present a lot of new challenges. So in the area, kind of here in Central Texas, we've seen a lot of the parks are shutting down for the weekend. And that is because just uncontrolled numbers at the parks, are just people are really, really flocking to the parks. And
well, I've seen that in my own community. We have a park that's on Lake Travis, and just over the entire, since the middle of March, we have seen record numbers. I've been going to that park for 20 years, and in the last few months, I think I've seen more people in there trying to get to water. And at that particular park, there's a life jacket loaner station, and the life jackets are getting used, despite which is a good thing. However, I know that park will be shut down this weekend, and that's gonna drive people to other water, I think, which is what we were talking about. Yeah. Peter, I see you. Can you hear us? Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, but I know that the parks. Again, if you are finding water in a park, we're going to ask you obviously to follow the social distancing and wear masks and all the things that we've all been doing during the pandemic to help keep ourselves safer. And then in terms of water safety, it's our basic water safety rules and tips that we offer. And this rings true to whether you're going to a pool or to open water. And that's our concept of having water guardians. And that's having undistracted adults who are watching kids in, near, and around the water. And that means not being on your phone. That means not being engaged in conversations. That means actually watching the water, so that if someone gets into trouble, you're within arm's reach and you can react. And that's a water safety tip, regardless of whether or not it's a holiday weekend. And I don't know if Peter's able to chime in or not, but if the beaches where you are open, again, okay, so I'm gonna speak for Peter and do the best that I can to do my best Peter Davis imitation here. But that is that if you are going to beaches and that is an option for you where you are, please go to lifeguarded beaches. I can't say that enough. I've been at the beach lately with family and have been watching some really great lifeguards enforcing the social distancing rules that we've been talking about, but also doing an amazing job with educating the public about how to behave on the beach. I was on the beach and actually watched them move people because there was a rip current that was spotted. And so the whole going to a lifeguarded beach is amazing, because you really can, if there are rip currents out there, the lifeguards are going to spot them. They're going to educate the public. They're going to help add a layer of safety. beach warning flags. That's something I know that are on guarded beaches a lot of the times, and you can really know what's happening with the surf. If you see a green flag, that means that the surf is pretty calm and it's pretty safe to go in. If you see a yellow, it's just like stoplights, caution. A red flag means that there's danger. Double red flags means it's, I think that's red flags we don't want to go in. And there are also purple flags, which are hazardous marine life. So that can be jellyfish, that could be other marine life. So going to lifeguarded beaches, if your beaches are open, please do that. That's something I think that can add the layer of protection. And then never swim alone. It doesn't matter what your ability is. I know that's something that I feel like I'm a really strong swimmer, but I will never get in any kind of water, and certainly not in a beach situation by myself. I really wish that we could hear Peter. We can see him. But there are some really great resources that we have, and we'll put in the comment section around where you can go to educate yourselves about learning how to spot and get out of a rip current. Our friends at the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, I love, they've come up with something that's in the line of, stop, drop, and roll for fire safety, but they say flip, float, and follow to get out of a rip current. I like to add the yell for help and don't panic if you can, but then the flip is flip over. If you feel yourself being pulled by a rip current, flip over, float on your back, and follow the current out to the sides. So get parallel to the shore. And we have that information on our website in the resources open water section, as well as the USLA, the US Surf Life Saving Association, has some really great resources there. Let's talk about, so there's beach safety. Again, know what's happening on the beaches before you go. There's some beaches too that you can get text messages that tell you what's happening with the surf and what the conditions are. So,
there's also there's some great
Yeah.
options where you can live stream what's happening on the beaches, especially too, where you can just look up and see there's video footage of what's happening right there. You can see how crowded it is. You can see what the tide looks like. So that's a great option too before you go.
Yeah, and where you find that, you would also find if the beaches are closed. And so, no, that's a great, the live webcams are awesome. And, one of the things that I feel like we're talking about, and I'm just going to bring it up, is around having a plan or planning around swimming, planning around recreating around water. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't often think about. They just say, we're going to the pool, we're going to the beach. But they might plan for something else, but they don't plan for that. So I think that's something, I don't know if you want to talk about that for a little bit, but I think,
we all just have to be really adaptable and flexible right now. And it may be that your favorite swimming place is not open or accessible the way you wanted it to be. And so we've seen a lot of people going to new places, which is exciting and great. I've visited a few new parks myself over the last few weeks, but we don't necessarily know what to expect. So actually tomorrow I'm taking my kids swimming to a new place. We're going to the Blue Hole in Wimberley, and they haven't been there yet. And they're little. I've got little kids, they're 2 and 4. And I've got my life jackets ready to go, and I've already told my husband, we don't know. There's not much of entry there. So we can expect it's going to be deep water. So what do we want to do to prepare for that? And it's different than it is just going to a pool where there's a shallow end and we can sit right there. So you need to be prepared for different situations, and always the life jackets are very important.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned Blue Hole, because we have been in the past and are hoping to continue the conversations with Blue Hole about getting a life jacket loaner station at that particular park. So hopefully we can make that happen. But you make a great point. So the difference between going to a pool, which we say is like closed water, you can see the bottom, it's clear, the depth might be on the side, you might be familiar if it's your backyard pool. Then the difference is to going to open water, and how incredibly different that experience is for small kids and for bigger kids and for adults too. I mean, you can't see the bottom. There could be debris, there could be glass, there could be rocks, there could be a drop off, and who knows, if you're in open water, there could be currents, whether it lakes or certainly the beach, but open water behaves differently. And so I love these conversations. And so I challenge families to have a conversation when you're in your car or on the way there or as you're preparing to go. And that's all about having a water safety plan. One of the things we encourage families to do, and I happen to have one of our bookmarks here, and that's to come up with your own family water safety rules. So just like you have rules around other things, come up with water safety rules and talk about them with your kids and come up with them together and then actually do them. And I think that's a simple thing that people can do as they get ready to be around water. And I want to acknowledge that even though we started out talking about open water and beaches and things like that holiday weekends, again, typically we see, sadly, we often see drownings occur over holiday weekends at backyard pool parties and barbecues and when people are all gathering together. And again, that may be different, that may look different right now, but I do know that families are still gathering and backyard pools are getting used. Any kind of water is getting used right now, but that don't think that someone is, don't let your guard down. That's, again, the importance of having an adult water guardian who's on duty, because if you're talking and if you're engaging in conversation or cooking hot dogs on the grill and you have, you think someone is watching, that's when we see kids get into the water and get into trouble and no one sees or hears them. And so that's something that I just want to mention. If if the parks are closed or you're not going to open water, but you are going to a backyard pool and recreating around your home, don't let your guard down. That's something that we see year round, but certainly holiday weekends, we always see drownings happen over holiday weekends.
And if you are in a park, I would suggest you familiarize yourself with the layout of the park and know where the water in the park is, if there is any. We were at Lockhart State Park a few weeks ago, and there's a great little creek that runs through it. And we didn't swim in it, but once we went back to our campsite, I guarantee kids, if they had wandered from the site, that's exactly where they would have gone to. So knowing is and making sure if you're not watching your kids, it doesn't have to be even a pool. It could be a creek or a stream or just any body of water.
Right. And ponds, we talked about ponds. I know we've seen multiple ponds. And you bring up a good point. So one of the things that we have a video that we can put the link to the video because it's up on YouTube, but it's actually a video of our program director, Jessica Brown, her family and her son, Alexander. And it's talking about creating a culture of water safety in families. And the reason we love it is Alexander is almost 3, but he's been learning water safety since he was born because he was literally born into the Colin Hope family. And we have some footage in that video of him at the lake in a life jacket and flying a kite in the life jacket. And he is completely comfortable, even though he wasn't going swimming that day, he was in a life jacket because they were around water and he was completely comfortable. So your point, I love your point about if you're going to a park and even if you're not planning to get in and go swimming, if there is water there, then think about not only talking about it, but life jackets and properly fitted U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets is what we're talking about too. So many things to think about. I know we're kind of running out of time here. What else, as we send people into a holiday weekend, we want families to, we have the best day ever all over everything that we say. We want you to have the best day ever around water, but we want folks to do it safely, as safely as they can. So any last minute words of wisdom, Jessica, that you might have for families? I know we could talk forever, but let's point them in a direction to have a great weekend.
Well, what I'm going to say is, on behalf of all of our people that are working Parks and Recreation, either this weekend or not working, if they're not working, this is probably their first 4th of July weekend they've had off. If the parks are closed, they're off. This is probably their first 4th of July weekend off, and who knows how long, as many years as they've been in Parks and Recreation. So, enjoy the weekend if you're listening to this. And for the families that are going to parks, like we said, please say, and then give park staff as much grace as you can.
Yes.
With as many people are in the parks, and all these additional safety precautions they're trying to follow, they're doing the best job that they can. And don't rely on park staff to watch your kids or, I mean, lifeguards are there to focus on the water, but we have so many new things we're worried about too. Our staff are having to, now we've got reservation systems, and we're, just so much that we're all trying to navigate together. So if you get to a park and it's closed, it's not personal.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing to bring up. I think as we're all navigating this very strange world that we're living in, having grace and compassion for each other, and understanding that everybody's new normal is not the normal that they wanted to have. And so I appreciate that you brought that up, because and of course, I was holding up the Water Guardian badge again. Like, that is a thing that as adults and parents and caregivers, if you're having your family there, that is part of be the Water Guardian, and your layers of protection are lifeguards, or in your case you're talking about park staff, and we didn't really talk about boating safety, but I want to mention it really quickly again. People, if you're able to get out on a boat and you plan to, U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets, make sure you have them, make sure you wear them, and make sure that they fit properly. We've got some great resources on our website about how to choose and how to fit a life jacket properly. We say that it needs to fit tight like a hug. That's one of our water safety rules that we teach our kids in our curriculum. But that's a thing. If you're getting out on the boat, we highly discourage you from mixing alcohol and boating and water, and wearing life jackets. That's everybody. If you're getting out and getting on a dock, put the life jackets on before you even get to the boat. Can't not mention that. So with all of that, we just threw a lot of stuff at you guys. We're sorry we couldn't get Chief Peter Davis on here. We so appreciate the work that he does in Galveston, and he's one of the best lifeguard guys out there in water safety, a great advocate in drowning prevention and water safety. So we'll get him on again. I'm sure he's going to have a busy weekend ahead of all he's doing too. So Jessica, thank you for being here and for the work that you do. Together at Colin's Hope, we need all of our partners to help us reach more families, more parents and caregivers with water safety information. And so let's close this out. If you'll do with me a best day ever on 3, then we'll send everybody into a great holiday weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy. So on 3, we'll do a best day ever. 1, 2, 3. Best day
ever.
Ever.
Thanks.